Have you ever found yourself in a situation that's just so complex, so completely out of control, like you'd maybe stumbled into some kind of spy novel? Well, today we're diving into a story exactly like that. It takes high-stakes car racing, mixes it with uh, cutting-edge tech, some of it definitely illegal, plus murder, and this cast of truly unforgettable characters. Oh, and there's a very enthusiastic Saint Bernard involved too. Okay, let's unpack this. Our deep dive today, it's based on this really captivating narrative, a whole stack of sources detailing these escalating events. You've got a talented race car driver, his spotter, who's also his R&D expert, this mysterious tech chip, and it all just spirals into these criminal escapades nobody saw coming. So, our mission, to kind of pull out the surprising bits of knowledge, the insights from this wild journey, understand how quickly good intentions can just flip into crazy consequences, and how even, really brilliant people can end up in these truly absurd situations. Get ready for some aha moments. We want this to feel less like a lecture, more like a friend telling you the absolute craziest story they've ever heard. You'll see some serious ingenuity, even if it's maybe for questionable reasons, and how critical thinking is just essential when you're overloaded with information. Or, when you're staring at a shrink-wrapped body, as our sources mention. So let's kick things off on the racetrack. Roaring engines, split-second decisions. It's a world where that line between winning fair and, let's say, slipping south of fair is really, really thin. Our narrator, who's also the spotter and R&D expert for the main driver, Hooker, she has this very clear philosophy. Don't cheat me, I take it personally.
Well,
She's an engineering grad, right? Better at fixing cars than racing them. The perfect foil for Hooker, who's this talented, aggressive, kind of rootin' tootin' shootin' Texan driver. And their target right now, the flashy red number 69 Lubalot car, driven by a guy named Spanky. They strongly suspect he's cheating.
yeah, and that's a great place to start because that suspicion, it's like the spark, isn't it?
Yeah.
What jumps out right away is how early that suspicion of cheating pops up and how quickly it moves beyond just, breaking rules. It gets way more complex fast. You see it with Nick Schran, the driver of the Yum Yum Snack Cakes car. He crashes. And his spotter, Jefferson Davis Warner, they call him Gobbles. He's this good-hearted guy, but maybe not the sharpest tool in the shed, street smart-wise. He just gets consumed by anxiety. And the narrator's early theory about Spanky's cheating? It's remarkably spot on thinking about undetectable traction control. She's already imagining these really clever methods, like a tiny lithium watch battery for power, wires hidden right inside the car's frame.
Wow.
A computer chip maybe tucked in the roll bar, or even a wireless chip, like smaller than a contact lens, disguised as a casting flaw on the engine block itself.
Smaller than a contact lens. That's incredible.
Exactly. It shows brilliant thinking, even if it's aimed at, well, cheating. It forces the other side to innovate just to keep up or to detect it. And this whole scenario really makes you think, doesn't it? How close are we really to tech that can subtly tweak outcomes in these high-stakes games? Racing, finance, maybe even politics. And how incredibly hard would that be to actually detect? This story suggests that, well, human ingenuity for maybe illicit stuff is often a step ahead, always pushing boundaries.
And then, the plot doesn't just thicken, it kind of congeals.
Yeah.
The story takes this completely unexpected turn. Gobbles calls the narrator. He's panicked, whispering he's actually trapped inside the number 69 hauler, talking about serious shit.
Right.
It involves Ray Huevo, described as the runt black sheep of this Huevo family, and these two menacing loons in suits. And Gobbles drops this chilling line about a past incident, saying Clay was intentionally run down. Hooker, being Hooker, with his balls-to-brain ratio, as the narrator puts it, he's immediately ready for a rescue, even suggesting ridiculous disguises like briefs over their heads with eye holes cut out.
Right, and that escalation is massive. You go from suspected cheating on a racetrack to suddenly kidnapping, Grand Theft Auto. It's a huge leap.
Huge.
It really demonstrates a core insight into how these criminal things often work, right? What looks like maybe separate incidents, a crash here, a cheat there, can suddenly link up into something way bigger, way more dangerous. So Hooker, with his typical bravado, he hijacks this massive number 69 hauler. We're talking 550 horsepower, 18-speed truck. It's audacious.
Totally.
And the narrator captures that fear perfectly, white-knuckled terror, knowing one wrong move means, quote, out of NASCAR and into Florida penal.
Ooh, but the real horror, it's waiting inside a locker in that hauler. They find Oscar Huevo, Ray's brother. He's naked, shrink-wrapped, and there's a bullet hole right in his forehead.
Yeah, and they quickly figure this might be the billion-dollar cargo Gobbles was talking about, though maybe not in the way they first thought. That moment is just, it's such a stark example of, like, the butterfly effect in crime. A perceived injustice on the track cheating suddenly rips the cover off this hidden, much more brutal underworld. It forces you, the listener, to think, When does defending your turf turn into being an accomplice to murder? How fast can small choices lead to these life-or-death situations?
And just when you think, okay, this cannot possibly get any weirder, more people get pulled into the chaos, these new recruits arrive, Felicia Ibarra and Rosa Flores. They're friends of the narrator. Their first reaction to the body apparently is almost darkly funny, mistaking it for a big bag of chicken parts, but that shifts to horror pretty quick. Then you have the Beans problem. Hooker's dog, Beans, this huge 140-pound St. Bernard. He complicates everything by playing with Oscar's corpse, leaves teeth marks, big ones.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So just re-hiding the body is out. Those teeth marks point right back to Hooker. Then Felicia, drawing on her strong Catholic faith, comes up with this unconventional idea that God would want Oscar taken to his relatives, which somehow morphs into this increasingly bizarre but weirdly meticulous disposal plan.
Okay, this part is fascinating because it shows resourcefulness under, unimaginable stress. When the normal options, call the police, run away, are gone, what do? Survival kicks in. People redefine what a resource is.
Right.
Even something awful becomes a tool. Felicia's moral compass, however skewed it might seem from the outside, provides a direction that leads to the yacht idea.
Yeah.
So Oscar gets rewrapped in plastic, secured with duct tape, and sprayed with Tropical Breeze air freshener to look like a big present.
A big present.
Yeah. And they place him in Spanky's flashy red Avalanche LTZ, the one with the vanity plate DICK69 parked near Huevo's yacht. There's even this disturbing, memorable detail about Oscar having a big boner from rigor mortis. Hooker apparently comments, "Died in the saddle, all right." Adds to the whole surreal nightmare.
Unbelievable.
And the cover-up continues. The narrator, she puts on a borrowed jumpsuit, gets out an acetylene torch and a power saw,
Wow.
and meticulously dismantles the number 69 race car. Makes it look like a simple car theft, chop shop style. While Rosa shows up in a dump truck, somehow still wearing 4-inch heels that were clear plastic and rhinestones to haul away all the car parts.
In heels to drive a dump truck.
Apparently so. It's not just about finding a gross solution. It really highlights this incredible, almost desperate elasticity of human problem solving when you're pushed to the absolute edge. It makes you think about how ethical lines just blur when the stakes are basically your life, and how even the most outrageous plans can seem justified for self-preservation. Or loyalty.
Okay, so bodies are sort of disposed of, cars are shredded. You'd think maybe, just maybe, things might calm down. Nope. Our protagonists quickly find out the consequences are just starting. First, the forgotten dog, Beans, accidentally left behind in the holler.
Memes.
Yeah. This leads to a chilling phone call from the bean snatcher, who turns out to be the actual killer, and he's threatening Hooker's life now. Then Ray Huevo calls. Not about the missing hauler, interestingly. He demands his cars back, plural, clearly implying he knows what happened to Oscar and Hooker. Still terrified of losing his career, he absolutely refuses to involve in NASCAR. It would be over for him.
Right, and you really see the personal cost ramping up there. The direct threat, Ray's implied knowledge, the career hanging by a thread, it shapes every desperate move they make next. Hooker's refusal to call in NASCAR, even now, really highlights that ethical tightrope. Self-preservation versus, well, doing the legally right thing. It's a huge tension. Things escalate again with the confrontation on Ray Huevo's yacht. Hooker and the narrator go there to face him. It doesn't go well. Horse, one of Ray's huge henchmen, assaults the narrator. Her reaction, according to the source, projectile vomiting before she escapes by jumping into the water.
Projectile vomiting? Seriously?
Seriously. A very visceral detail. And then the tech side gets even murkier. Steven Sokolsky, their computer guy, analyzes that mangled engine chip, confirms it's wireless, has a self-destruct charge. But there's a second chip, found in the gear shift knob. He calls it more interesting. It can send and receive signals wirelessly.
A second chip. Okay, so not just for cheating then.
Seems like it. And the body count keeps climbing. Butchie Miller, Hooker's security guard, found shot in the head, quote, like Huevo. Later, they find Bernie Miller's body, bagged, twisted into odd angles. They transport it on the roof rack of their SUV and eventually stuff it into Spanky's motor coach. Hooker actually uses a shovel, apparently, to sort of wedge him through the door.
A shovel. This is just beyond grim.
It is. This whole sequence reveals these layers of deception, technologically too. Started with a simple cheat chip theory. Now we're looking at sophisticated multifunction devices, probably part of a much bigger criminal operation. It really makes you wonder, how does that initial wrong idea, that assumption about what the tech is for, lead you down completely the wrong path when you're tangled in this web of lies, especially when the stakes are literally life and death?
Right. And the truth, when it finally starts coming out, isn't from some brilliant deduction. It's from this bizarre confession. from an unlikely source, leading to even more chaos. Rodriguez, one of Ray's goons, he's captured, chained up. And he delivers what the narrator calls the boner confession.
The boner confession.
The boner confession. He admits he killed Oscar and his girlfriend. Why? Because Oscar took some kind of enhancer, this persistent erection problem that wouldn't go away even after Rodriguez shot him. And it apparently freaked Rodriguez out.
You cannot make this stuff up.
Apparently not. He also details the cleanup, easy cleanup, he says, on the marble bathroom walls. And Ray's plan to frame Suzanne, Oscar's wife, using the hauler to take Oscar's body to Mexico. The shrink wrap. That was just because they had no garbage bags at the girlfriend's condo. A last-minute thing.
So the motive wasn't the billion-dollar tech or racing, it was that.
Seems so. Then Hooker and the narrator try to frame Rodriguez, lock him in Spanky's bus with the murder weapon, wiped clean of prints. But he escapes. In the bus. Drives erratically. Causes this insane, bizarre 17-car crash. The news headline was apparently, Bono motor coach humps Hummer on Speedway Boulevard.
Oh my goodness, that confession just flips everything upside down, doesn't it? It's a perfect example of misplaced context in these high-stakes situations. Everyone assumed Oscar's death was tied to the big money, the racing tech. But Rodriguez reveals this mundane yet grotesquely personal motive. It totally reframes the original murder. Shows how biased existing rivalries can lead you way off track. But the twists keep coming. Suzanne Huevo, Oscar's widow, she reveals her own countermove. She kidnapped Ray Huevo herself, used a stun gun to stop him from ripping off her kid's inheritance. And Ray, under duress, spills another crucial detail. Dicky Bonanno, the guy who finished second, he actually won the race.
Wait, what? How?
Because Rodriguez, the killer, mistakenly put the wrong chip in Spanky's car. It wasn't the illegal speed regulator. It was some other non-racing prototype chip. That prototype for a new kind of battery and wireless system that was the real billion-dollar tech all along. Not the cheating device.
No
way. And then the ultimate oh crap moment, as you said. That critical prototype circuit board, the one Anthony Miranda, this illegal tech and arms exporter, is now after. It was accidentally eaten by Beans the St. Bernard.
Beans ate the billion-dollar prototype.
That's the situation. This whole segment is just revelation after revelation. It shows how these underlying, maybe unrelated things, inheritance fights, drug reactions, can completely change the game, the motives, everything. It just forces you to ask, how do you keep your head straight? Sift through all this deception when the stakes are sky high and the key piece of evidence is currently working its way through a dog's digestive system.
Exactly. Okay, so Hooker is now Miranda's hostage because Miranda wants that chip. Gobbles is also missing. Time for a rescue, a desperate one.
Yeah,
and our heroines, Suzanne, Felicia, Rosa, the narrator, they come up with the poop plan.
Poop plan, of course.
They force-feed Beans prunes, hoping he'll
Yeah.
deliver the chip. They actually present Miranda's associate, Simon, with a gallon bag of dog shit to try and buy some time.
Resourceful. Disgusting, but resourceful.
Then this all-female rescue squad, armed, determined, they storm the gated estate where Hooker's held. Beans, ever the helper, crashes right through a glass door and lands directly on Felicia.
Poor Felicia.
I know. Inside, the final showdown. Hooker's tied to a kitchen chair. They rescue Gobbles, who's a bit wobbly. Rodriguez and another goon, Luca, are found dead. Beans might have taken credit for one kill, apparently. And just as they're escaping, boom! A bomb goes off on the dock planted by the Huevo team earlier, forces everyone into the water for a chaotic, wet exit.
Wow. That whole sequence, it just obliterates the line between heroism and complete madness, doesn't it?
Very much, yeah.
It's pure determination. Unconventional thinking under insane pressure. It's not neat. It's messy, fueled by adrenaline and these absurd tactics like weaponizing dog poop. It's redefining resources again, and somehow a kind of twisted justice gets served. That loaded gun they left with Rodriguez, combined with all the chaos, it helps shift the blame for the murders. The truth becomes whatever narrative fits the available, messy evidence.
And the chip, the one Beans supposedly ate.
The final twist. Felicia finds it later. Beans hadn't eaten it. It had just fallen on the floor and pricked her foot when she was walking barefoot.
Oh, thank goodness for Felicia's foot.
Right, so Steven Sokolsky gets the chip, duplicates it successfully, and then the narrator, showing her own ingenuity, actually improves the tech. Designs a way to embed the remote control into a sport watch. No need for a separate relay chip anymore. And Suzanne Huevo, ever the pragmatist, she plans to use this new, virtually undetectable tech, well, to keep cheating in races, to secure her kids' future, their inheritance.
So cheating continues, just upgraded.
Exactly. It's a fascinating end note on what winning means here. It's not about being righteous. It's about adapting fastest, exploiting innovation most effectively, even if your moral compass is just spinning like crazy.
So wrapping this up, what does it all mean? We've just taken this wild ride, a deep dive into a world where tech, competition, human mistakes, they all just collide spectacularly. Undetectable cheat devices, accidental kidnappings, shrink-wrapped bodies, that incredible St. Bernard. This story really hammers home how even the best-laid plans can go completely sideways, often tripped up by the most unexpected, sometimes frankly disgusting details. The ingenuity, though, whether it was for cheating or for that chaotic rescue, it's kind of astounding.
Absolutely. And the insights go way beyond the racetrack, I think. We saw how misplaced context, thinking it was about one chip when the real value was another, totally changed the game. We saw resource redefinition constantly turning dog poop or even a corpse into part of a plan. And the whole narrative shows how that drive to win or just survive pushes people past normal ethical lines. It reveals this incredible, maybe sometimes troubling elasticity in human problem solving. Solutions pop up from the weirdest places, the most unexpected people, sometimes even, yes, a flatulent St. Bernard.
So you've heard about the cleverness used to create illegal tech and then counter it. You've seen the lengths people go to for power, money, or maybe just protecting a friend or a dog. It leaves us with this lingering thought, doesn't it? In a world where technology seems poised to make almost anything undetectable, and where the real reasons behind huge events can be so complex, so bizarre, what's the true cost of chasing victory no matter what? And faced with the most extreme circumstances imaginable, what lines would you be willing to cross?